Well, hello to all my incredible human souls that are blessed to be in our presence today. I am absolutely, totally honored and godsmacked, literally, that I have this incredible soul, Jill Fischer, and she literally is my soul sister. There's not many people on this earth that I could actually say, has she had an impact in my life? A huge impact on my life, the trajectory of where my life and my energy and my surrounding of the right energy of where I need to be. She is the iconic leader who comes from a place of heart and love and bountiful blessings to everyone and every single person on this planet. She carries with her and she embodiments the infinite potential within and all around us all the time, all the time. And I feel privileged to have her presence with us today. I really want you to listen to this recording because the conversation that we're about to have can change your life right now, like right now on this spot. You don't need to wait for anything. It's words of wisdom. It's downloads. It's whatever you want to call it. We are here to serve you. And we are co-creating this incredible existence upon this earth. So here's Jill.
Wow. Thank you, Andrea. It feels like I just stepped on a magic carpet ride with you, girlfriend. Here we go. Here we go. Where are the seatbelts? Hey, there's no seatbelts here. I gotta grab the tassels on the corners.
Oh my God. You see what radiance she carries within herself? She's helping me rise up. Okay, I'm going to cry now because my eyes get all teary when I feel that. And, you know, actually where I want to sort of start this conversation, aside from this great presence, is how your story.
Ooh, I got all teary-eyed too, girlfriend. Woo.
Oh my God.
Okay, my story. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I keep saying, I didn't expect this, and this is a surprise. And I love that about life, right? You have a plan and God laughs, it's like, yep, yep. So, my journey, I guess, started in utero. So being born a highly sensitive child, right? And my mom, like, no joke, in utero, very stressed. Like, I was the third born of three kids. So she had three in diapers, and my dad was in the Navy. So he traveled a lot, and very devoted man. And he was, dedicated to what he signed up for. So my mom was alone a lot, very, very stressed. So as an infant, I was highly tuned into her stress. So I was colicky. And from there forward, I'm 56 now, and I'm still highly sensitive, highly tuned in. And the curse became a blessing with tools, right? So being highly tuned into humanity's pain is not a fun place to hang out at, because there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of polarity in our world right now, and like me against you kind of energy. And to learn some tools on how to navigate that happened. The most dramatic shift was when I left my husband. And I can remember walking out the door with my daughter 1 month old in one hand and my son 3 years old in the other hand, and him yelling, "You can't make it without me." Right? And numb, just numb. Abusive relationship, drugs, alcohol, verbal abuse, physical abuse, like that, right? And I had shut down. And what gave me strength to leave was to protect my kids, because there felt like, for me, there was so much anger in our house that I feared for my kids. And my self-esteem was shattered by then. I'd been 13 years in this relationship. And it's funny, highly sensitive people get attracted to narcissist people,
Mm,
and our sensitivities, our telomeres, the ends of our chromosomes are all pointed outwards, cueing into all the dynamics that are happening in for another person or a situation or an event or the culture. So we're picking up all this information and we're really tuned into people's pain. So we're tuned into the people that are in high pain. And there was the attraction to a man like this.
mhm,
And on his side, that energy of like relief of somebody being compassionate with me that could, you know, possibly help me. And so then the dynamic happens, but it's not healthy. It's
no.
not healthy, not without tools. And really a therapist is more of a, a person to put in the mixture. So that was my beginning was, wow, everything I've done, I've turned myself into a pretzel, has not helped him. And he went to a drug rehab center, so I went as the loved one of the addict. And in a week, it was about 2 years of Al-Anon in a week. And I got, oh, it's actually not about him. It's about me. My life's about me. So telomeres started to navigate back to pointing towards me rather than outside. So hypersensitive of all the dynamics out there, starting to come back of, oh, what's going on with me?
Mm,
And my perspective was, if I don't shift this, I'll just recreate another partner like that.
mhm,
So, so that threw me into this journey of taking courses and trainings and getting certified as I first got certified as a life coach, and then I stumbled into hypnotherapy, which blew my mind. How effective, how fast, how pain, and how fascinating. Oh my gosh. Like to study
mm.
human behavior and study the brain and study the conscious and the
Oh,
subconscious. Like if you're a Joe Dispenza fan, you would love hypnotherapy.
mm,
It's
mm.
fascinating.
Wow. So it's like really looking at the science behind it.
Looking at the science behind it, looking at the energy behind it, looking like stepping out of casting blame or shame and looking at like how can we heal this perpetual trigger that keeps people in a tailspin or repeating the problems over and over again.
Right.
And
I just want to ask you, I'm sorry for
yeah,
interrupting you
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. I can talk forever. So
I
interrupt.
really in this realm that you're in, I have no idea what actually happens. So maybe you could give, a description of
Yeah.
say, like a client or your own experience. So because I have no idea, zero capacity of understanding what it is that you actually like, what you like the process behind it. Like maybe a short story of an experience, somebody came in, blah, 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 and you kind of went through the process of what actually happens because I have no clue,
Yeah.
none, zero.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have, I think, infinite potential. You said no potential, but you have infinite potential or capacity and maybe no clue at this point. I just wanted to steer that a little bit,
Thank you.
tweak that a little bit in that um hypnotherapy has been highly misunderstood. It's so effective, it ruffles feathers for the standard status quo medical system or religious systems or political systems because it's so effective and it's so powerful. So it's had a dubious past and
Mm.
been tried to be shut down over the last 150 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that from my view, it speaks to how powerful it is.
Mm.
And we're all familiar with meditation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the healing power of meditation.
Yes.
Meditation is a type of hypnotherapy.
Oh,
So it's under the umbrella of hypnotherapy.
wow.
Yeah, most people don't know that.
I had no idea.
I know. I know. And
Thank you for
hypnotherapy
that.
can conjure up um, question marks in people because of its dubious past and the discredit that it's gone through. It's very established in Europe. It's in the hospitals in Europe. Um, In
Wow.
Canada, actually, it's starting to drip into insurance policies now. My daughter
Whoa.
just got in a car accident and the insurance is gonna cover all these treatments. And one of them I was looking at for a psychologist, and in there, the description, it includes hypnotherapy. And I'm like, yes. So
Yes.
we're coming along, us youngins in Canada.
Wow.
So in a nutshell, hypnotherapy is where you get into a relaxed state, where your brainwave frequencies slow down so that you can spend time in this sweet spot between your conscious and subconscious. So
Oh.
normally when we go to sleep, we move through that fairly quickly, right? And so just when you're falling asleep and you're kind of in that in-between state where
Mm,
you're kind of aware, but you don't care.
yeah.
Right? Like there's no emergency to tend to. You might hear the TV in the background or somebody talking in the background or something, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And you fall asleep anyways,
Mm.
right? If there was an emergency, you would be alert and you would come out of that trance-like state and you would be like fully aware. So the thing that often scares people about hypnotherapy is loss of control.
Oh.
That's a myth. There is no loss of control.
Wow. Isn't it
But
amazing how all these things that kind of come to the surface about all these negative, control, judgment, fear, guilt, all these negative connotations seems to invade our space, consciously or unconsciously. And then they actually don't really know what actually truly surrender actually means.
yeah,
Surrender is it's a hard lesson for all of us. At some point it's like, okay, you mean I'm supposed to just let it go? It doesn't mean you stop, because that's again these words that can be interpreted, and they're interpreted the way that it serves that individual because of their perception. Or you can say, this word actually allows me to make space for the good that I desire. And
mhm.
I think that's such a different state of being, because you're like, wow, I'm supported, I'm guided, I'm loved, and all the good that we kind of carry within ourselves. And then you can actually address, probably, which is what you're doing, those specific things that are deeply rooted in our unconscious awareness, potentially, and you bring them to the surface. Is that kind of what ends up happening in
Totally.
the process?
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, in that relaxed state, you can actually delve into and surf around the subconscious, unconscious, and I combine it with energy healing as well, to be able to comprehensively heal whatever might be in your subconscious that you're likely not even aware of. It's
Mhm.
fascinating and liberating.
Wow.
'Cause you really get it's not your fault. This is so complex. A lot of this stuff can be inherited. It can be absorbed from culture. It can be, ancestral stuff that was passed through, like the color of your eyes. You didn't consciously choose it, but you were born into it. We carry
Mm.
all kinds of that stuff in our DNA.
Wow.
And in hypnosis, you can heal that, right?
So
If it's impeding the quality of your life, you can heal it.
wow. You know what I also find
So
amazing?
it's
Go ahead, honey.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, what I find
Oh,
amazing is
I was just gonna comment.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's a delay.
Yeah. So what I find amazing is, like, I think our viewers really need to be aware of actually the success rate. Like, you can sort of say, here's the success rate with all these different options. And that's the beautiful part. You have free will. You decide, is it actually serving you or is it not serving you, based on
Okay,
even statistics?
I have a stat here
Tell
that was
me.
published in the American Health Magazine. And so this is wild. So hypnotherapy has a 93% success rate after the average of 6 sessions. So 6, right? 6 sessions. Compared to psychoanalysis at a success rate of 38% after 600 sessions. So psychoanalysis as in talk therapy.
Okay.
There's one more stat in here, behavior therapy. So like cognitive behavior therapy like that has a 72% success rate after 22 sessions. So
Wow.
hypnotherapy, 93% success after 6 sessions. It's so efficient
Wow. That
because you
is
don't
so
have to argue, right? The argument, okay, the reticular activation system, and I hear a lot of people talking about it lately. The reticular activation system is like the size of the top of my pinky. And if
Okay.
I could tunnel in between here and here, where my fingers would meet is about where it is in your brain.
Okay.
It's your filter of what you're aware of, what you're not aware of.
Mm.
So something like 400 billion bits per second come at you of information. So 400 billion bits per second. That's an enormous amount. All goes into your subconscious.
Wow.
2000 goes into your awareness, your consciousness.
Wow.
The reticular activation system is what determines what's the 2000, what's the rest of the 400 billion. That all goes into your subconscious. We would go nuts if we had to deal with it all because it's just too much, right?
It's too
It's too
much.
much. Like even our spectrum of light is a sliver of all the spectrum that's actually out there, right? I don't see infrared, right?
Wow.
I don't see ultraviolet,
Mm.
right? And so I sometimes see auras. I sometimes see light
Yeah.
and energy coming out of people as they're going through a healing session. But
Wow.
the spectrum even of what we see is a tiny sliver of all that's there.
Mm.
So all this information goes into your subconscious. The reticular activation system, RAS for short, is what determines what we're aware of and what we're not, what can just be filed into the back of the filing cabinet in our subconscious. So what we're aware of, we live by. But what's in our filing cabinet can have us steer the ship and
Mm.
have us steer the ship the way we don't want it to be, like overeating or abusive relationships or chronic illness or
Wow.
level of success that we can't seem to break through. Whatever the proverbial, ceiling is there that we can't seem to get through,
Mm.
the information in your subconscious is where it's being stored, and that energy is festering in the background,
Wow.
being it's being like the engine of how your life is going.
Wow.
So to be able to get into the engine and reorganize it and reprogram it, then it steers in the direction you do want to, and things become effortless that used to be really,
Mm.
really difficult, or if not impossible.
Wow. So I have a question for you. So how do you know, like, divine plan unfolding, our state of being, our growth through life experiences, whatever the life experiences is, how do we correlate between the two? Like, I don't know if that's really a question or if it's a statement, or how do you actually be aware of saying, okay, this is for my highest purpose? Like,
Mm,
both you and I have had toxic relationships.
mhm.
So we acknowledge that we both overcame our toxic relationships.
Yay.
Totally.
It's a
So
big,
that was
big deal.
placed, it's a big deal. So those toxic relationships were placed there for either our higher growth, which I totally believe that they were placed there for us to recognize, acknowledge ourselves and the experiences that we have, or is it also being able to say that it was placed there intentionally to help us grow? It's like the dichotomy, like, did we choose it, or was there a plan unfolding it for us to be able to go to grow through this experience? That's where it's kind of like an interesting conversation. Like, I don't believe anything happens at you. I believe it happens for you. Like,
Sure.
you are placed in that space for you to grow through that, to recognize that you're growing through that. But when you're actually in the middle of it,
Ah,
like, did I actually sign up for this? And I
I
think
know.
over the course of time, we're like, did I actually sign up for this? Like, are you
No.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Or is it saying it was placed there because you need to grow through the understanding of the experience of your perception around that growth?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful conversation of intro of, we've probably all heard the universe has your back.
Yeah.
So consider the universe is your back. So
Mm.
of course, no matter whatever's happening, the natural state of existence is outwards and upwards. It's expanding growth infinitely. And so if we are the universe, then of course whatever's happening is for us. Of course. Even if it's highly, like, no matter what, right? Even if it's
Wow.
highly contrasting, right? Highly not desirable. Somehow, some way it's for us. And we learn through,
Mm.
if we're stubborn, which many of us are, me included, um, we're going to learn through contrast. We're going to learn through bumping up against things,
Mm.
right? And even fear of failure, fear of success, right? As we're going in a trajectory, as we're going from here to there, say, I want to receive $1 million. I want to find my life partner. I want to have beautiful, healthy kids. I want to, whatever our goal is, right? On the way from here to there is a pathway, and everything that is not aligned with our goal is going to show up for us to transmute and transform through.
Wow.
So I know it's a good
Can
one, right?
you say that one more time? Because I find that sometimes you're like, whoa, did you feel that? Could you say that one more time? Sometimes it
Okay.
just needs to
Okay,
absorb.
I'll try my best, because
Thank you. Whenever it
like
comes out.
rewind.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So so we're here and our goal is there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a goal, we'd have it already, right? So we have something we've put in front of ourselves. I'm doing a PhD right now. I'm doing a PhD
Yeah.
in transpersonal psychology, specializing in human potential. Like, how cool is that? So cool. So holy quantum, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
totally.
here. Goal is here. So I have a goal of completing my PhD, being Dr. Jill, Dr. Fischer. And so now everything in between that is going to show up. So I've put a goal in front of myself. So think for yourself. Any goal that you have, any desire that you have of seeing it in front of yourself, I really want that. Maybe it's a vacation to Hawaii. Maybe it's being able to earn 10,000 a month easily, fluidly, right? Whatever your goal is. So you put that out in front of yourself, and you're here now, and the goal is in front of you. So everything that is not hold on, let me say this right. Everything that is not aligned with the goal is going to show up in your face
Oh,
because you've got a gap,
yeah.
right? So
Right.
because you're going for it,
Yes.
those contrasting events are going to show up
Mm.
for you to transmute and transform. So
Oh,
transmute the energy, transform yourself.
oh
And
my goodness.
then you elevate and you move through that
Oh,
contrast. So think of it again like I love this analogy of a beautiful fountain, right? Beautiful fountain would be like, oh, I've got my goal, I've got my man, I've got my beautiful house, whatever your goal is. Whoa, like this beautiful array of water and light and rainbows and sunshine, and it's this water spraying up and out and around in a expressive pattern. Now, on the way for the water to do that, it's gone through a pipe. So the
mm.
water comes through this pipe. It has constraint. It
Oh,
has
mm.
tightness. It has direction, and it's being propelled through this pipe, but it bangs around inside the pipe as it's coming up, right? And it comes up from the energy from below. Its
Wow.
natural propensity to go upwards and outwards. So it's banging around inside of the pipe. There's your undesirable events. Not
Mm.
this way, not that way. So redirect. Oh, okay, this way. I get some freedom this way. So
Oh.
when you're faced with something so my daughter got in a car accident
Yeah,
last week, right? Not cool.
not cool.
Totally not cool.
No, not at all.
So that would be a redirect of the she could choose to wallow and be sad and be upset and be angry, and that would be a direction she could choose to do, and many do. In fact, we face some of that in dealing with the other driver that blew a stop sign. Just saying.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So in the analogy of the fountain, right, going through the pipe, that would be like hitting the inside of the pipe.
Right.
Now she chose to. I'm so blessed to have such an amazing daughter. Oh my gosh, she's so cool. She's 19. Amazing. So she redirects and goes, ah, looks like my cars are right off getting a new car. Ha! Right? She's injured a little bit, not a lot. So thank you, angels and God for protecting her.
Yeah, yeah,
And she also manifested about $10,000 worth of medical treatments like acupuncture and
wow,
massage and physio and counseling and psychotherapy, like lots of really great stuff,
wow.
right? That she gets now the insurance company to pay for. And her car went up in value over 4 years. She actually made money off her car. Like, who does that? Right? So this is redirecting so
Yeah.
that she's still going up to be the fountain. Rather
Mm.
than if we bang at, like, why did this happen to me? This isn't fair. And he's wrong and I'm right. And rah,
Yeah.
rah, 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 would be hitting your head against the inside of the pipe.
Wow. That was so beautiful. Like I get it now. I
Yep.
get it. And you know what I find often? I mean, this is kind of like my state of being. When somebody says we're just going to do this, I don't actually think like this. I just said, let's be.
Mm,
So when I'm going about my day and whatever's kind of serving me at that particular time, belief systems, particular actions, any of that kind of stuff, I just stay in that lane.
mm,
And then I don't say, why did that happen? How come this happened? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, does that actually thinking, does that actually serve me or does it not serve me? Only when you're actually upgrading a belief system. Actually, I have to share this with you because of my belief system's changed for the longest time. And I guess you and I are both stubborn in a lot of ways. But see, I believe it's a good thing because
tenacious.
it's
I like tenacious
exactly,
rather than stubborn.
you and me both, honey. Like we stick with it. Like we are there. We're not like, we're wishy-washy. No, we're in and we're all in. That is the veracity of our soul. It
Mhm,
totally is. So there was
mhm.
a particular practice that I had for the longest time. So, my practice was I had a book set up and it happened to be that I was following a lot of Bob Proctor's teaching at that time. And it was really highly beneficial because I understand a lot of things. But this particular practice,
I
daily
love
practice,
Bob Proctor, by the way. That's the style of hypnotherapy I was trained in.
oh, see,
Love Bob Proctor.
I totally,
Brilliant man.
and then you just immerse yourself because I was like a sponge. It was like, suck it all in. Oh my God, it feels like wow. So one of the practices, which is, Bob's practice, is have a book available that you're studying and you just read the material over and you keep on studying, you keep on studying, you keep on integrating, keep on integrating. And this book was sitting there, and I immersed myself with all this stuff. And it's kind of funny, my Basil, my furry spiritual companion, he would get up on my table and he would literally push the book like onto the floor every single time he got onto the table.
Is
And
this a
so I,
dog or a cat or what?
no, my
What
cat. Yeah,
your
my
kitty
cat.
cat? Okay,
Basil. Yes.
nice.
So Basil, for the longest time, like maybe the longest time, but a period of time, he would get up on my table because that's where I was doing my studying and push everything on the floor. My goal card, my book, all that kind of stuff. And he kept on doing this over and over and over again. So his message was to me, you don't need this anymore. It served
Mm.
you.
Cats are such spiritual
They
healers.
are. He's
Yep.
just like, so you need to stop that. And it's funny, then all of a sudden, well, you're making space for a brand new experience. So
Mm,
then, these two gentlemen showed up, they changed my perception of myself and my life purpose. And guess what? New experiences, new knowledge, new integration, because now I was making space for the good that I desired. And that's the part that I find is truly exceptional because over the course of time, we adopt a certain belief system that served us for that particular time. We integrate. Then after that, it's like, okay, time to close the chapter, time to make space for something new. And now Basil's like so happy. Like there's never any time he pushes everything on the floor. Like you're done with this woman.
yep.
Aside from when I like really needed support, like whatever's kind of happening in my existence of my growth and all the different types of things that we go through as we grow. And that's the part that I really love is that when you explain it, you explain it in a way that I can relate to. I can actually relate to that story, which thank you for that.
You're
I'm really
welcome.
grateful for that because it's good for me to know because sometimes I'm like, what does that actually mean?
Oh, I know. We have lots of terms. We have lots of vocabulary
We
in
do.
the spiritual healing realm. There's lots of jargon.
Yeah.
And I've taken, 15, 20 years of intense study in this area and
Wow.
love it. And I love actually just speaking normally. Right? Like, like really when we communicate, don't we want to be understood? Right? Don't we want to understand the other person? Isn't that the point? Right?
It
And
totally is.
and I have caught myself like ego going on, like trying to look all really smart using the big words and the lingo.
Yeah.
And yeah, I might talk over somebody and be all puffy chested, but it defeated the purpose of the conversation, right? The
Yeah.
purpose wasn't to dominate the other person. The purpose was
Mm.
to connect and
Yeah.
get to know each other
Yeah.
and bond and have a journey together. So I enjoy actually, I love the big terms and I love the information. I find that the whole thing is like infinitely fascinating.
Hmm.
And to be able to bridge it to not dumb down, it's not that, it's bridging that these concepts can be explained in everyday terms.
Yeah.
Stories are the best.
Yeah.
Stories are like little pockets of our life that we're connecting and sharing with each other
Yeah.
that make sense. And humans are designed for stories, right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
designed to learn through stories.
We do. It's like our innate connection. Like
Hmm.
it's relatable. It's kind of funny because I have a piano studio and when I teach, it's funny when I look at the language of the music, I look at the language of the music and say, what is the message?
Yeah,
What is the message of the language? And how do I make it so that a student can sort of say, oh, this means blah, blah, blah. We're still using certain terms like, okay, legato, staccato, lifting. So we integrate a way of being able to explain so they actually understand, so that they can create their particular story. And it's not a matter, it's like, when you look at the term allegro or you're looking at a sonata form, what does it actually mean? So these types of things are actually to have them acquire knowledge, like how to say Mozart. Like not Mozart, it's Mozart. How do you say Chopin? You say Chopin. You don't say Chopin. You don't say Bach.
we
Bach.
might. I
You
might.
could.
I
You
might
could.
not know, right?
Yes. Well, see, that's the other thing is, so when I'm talking to my students, I want them to be able to walk around and actually say, oh, it's legato. Legato means smooth and connected. So it's not a matter of sort of saying this particular word that whatever you're using is like, oh, this is an adoption of like, oh, a higher connection with our intellectual self. And that's the part that I think your intention behind it is just like, here's some extra knowledge.
Yeah.
Like that to me is actually really kind of a cool thing, but still being relatable with the story, which is actually totally phenomenal.
Yeah.
What's funny? I wanted to talk, and I know that our time goes by so incredibly quickly, about the word power today. I don't know why. I feel like there's a
Okay.
message, because um, you know, this message is from Metatron. And it's funny, I wanted to read this because I really want your intake about this particular word, what it actually means. And it's what it actually says in here is that it may be strange to hold such a fear, like the word power can have a fear-based
Sure. Totally.
reputation behind it.
Yep.
Yet if we look at around the world today, there are many examples of those in powerful positions being exploitive and abusive, which they do, rather than, and this is the part that I really love, protective
Hmm.
and empowering for those that may be impacted by their expression of power. And see, that's the part that I find amazing. It's protective and empowering. It's like, oh my God, that kind of reminds me of the conversation about bamboo, you know? That bamboo story of saying a bamboo is a bamboo, period. It's connected to the
Oh,
earth.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yep. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
totally. It's connected to the earth. It's strong within itself, but it's flexible. It has this thing. I think you were the one that told me that bamboo is stronger than steel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
see, that to me is really what power, it's not control, fear, manipulation. People
Yeah.
use it And that's where it's kind of, to me, got a bad rap because people are using it for the exploitive purpose.
Well, bamboo can be, okay, so I lived in Japan in my 20s, and I went there after graduating from art school, from fine art. Fell in love with bamboo. Have no idea why. Totally not logical. And I couldn't get in Canada. I was up in Edmonton. Bamboo, the biggest bamboo is about like, maybe an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches diameter. Like that we would use for garden poles, that kind of thing. And I wanted the big bamboo, like 6 inches diameter and this big honking stuff that you see in the tropics. And I was doing abstract installation kind of art at that time. And I just produced a show that went across Canada in museums and galleries. And it was called Paper Speak, and it was handmade paper, and I also used bamboo. And so, anyways, I manifested that I got out to Japan, and I studied bamboo. I did an actual bamboo apprenticeship in Japan at the age of 23,
Wow.
and where they spoke no English. It was all through like charades that we would communicate, and my speaking Japanese like a 2-year-old. That was hilarious. Entertaining for them. and and so I learned so much about bamboo, and I still love bamboo. Right, I must have a past life or something in Japan with bamboo. I don't know what it is, but if you think of bamboo as it's bamboo, it's a plant, it's actually a grass, it's not a tree, and it has the longest fibers. That's why it's so flexible, it doesn't break, right? So it can be used for scaffolding. It's actually better than steel scaffolding because it's flexible in the wind.
Mhm.
And bamboo takes it can take 2 to 5 years to 6 years to actually develop its root system. You see nothing when it's actually germinating out into the soil. You see nothing for years. And
Wow.
then all of a sudden, and we did this, we at 5 in the morning we went out with like head flashlights, and we went into a bamboo grove, and we watched grass grow. Because it's grass, right? So the bamboo will shoot out like and it will actually grow in front of your eyes. It grows so fast. So super like
Wow.
generating itself underground. It's a great metaphor for your own transformation. We do so much internal work. So much, and it can take a while. We want results right away. We want to dig up the seed and uncover the dirt and go, what's going on? How come you're not poking through yet? Right? It's like, no, leave it be, water it, nurture it, give it sunshine, and trust that it's in development. So those roots, they span out, and they go out sideways. They're really cool, like knobbly kind of roots. And they go out, and there's these little filaments that come out of the roots that anchor into the dirt and create this infrastructure underground. So this bamboo can grow like 40 feet in 2 weeks. Yeah, like nuts, like
Oh
nuts.
my God, this is an
So,
amazing story.
and beautiful, beautiful, like thick bamboo. And there's like over 1,400 different kinds of species of bamboo.
Wow.
So there's square ones, there's black ones, there's green ones that we're familiar with that go gold and there's even gold ones when they grow. But when you cut them, you can cut them and then dry them out, and they'll turn from green to gold
Wow.
instantly. Anyways, I could talk forever about bamboo as well. So bamboo is a great example for it can be used for resiliency,
Yeah.
for being able to bend and not break. It can also be used as a weapon,
Mhm.
right? There's lots of actually torture tools made out of bamboo.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
so is bamboo bad? No.
No.
So if
No.
you look at power, is power bad in itself? No, power's power.
Yeah.
It can be used for evil or good,
Yes, it can.
just like bamboo.
Yes.
You get to choose.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
when you look at power over someone, dominance over someone.
Mhm.
So my daughter, I mentioned before, we're in this financial training, and we're training people about the financial literacy for how things are in Canada and the US.
Mhm.
And most people don't know this information. It's not readily available.
No, I agree.
If you're wealthy, you have access to wealth strategists that will teach you this. But
Mhm.
this is like 1 to 5% of our population that get
Mhm.
access to this. So we train people in financial literacy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then so the finance, money can be used for power over people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Is money bad? No.
Oh,
Is power bad? No.
no.
How do you use it?
That is the question.
Are you using it to control people? Are you
Yes.
using it to torture people? Are
Yes.
you using it to be resilient and
Yes.
to help create infrastructures to grow things,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the
Well, even when you
power
talk about
conversation.
that, is like the again, I mean, there's always, one side or the other. And what's really amazing is that the power that we carry within is a power to choose. Choose one or choose the other. You decide, is it serving your highest good or is it not serving your highest good? And if you're wondering why things are falling apart, because you're choosing something that's actually not serving the highest good, which comes from a place of love, joy, infinite potential, all the good that you desire, and you're making more space for those types of things. But see, we are so in an environment and in a world that we are choosing or not choosing that allows us to be able to be in that space. And what
We
I
always have
really love,
choice.
actually, I really wanted to talk about this financial thing that you were working on because I'm just being in total transparency. Jill and I, we sat down with her, the
My
gentleman that she's
mentor.
working with.
Yeah.
And what I find
His
extraordinary,
name's Basil, just like your cat,
I know his name is
which is
Basil
a rare
too.
name. And
I
it's
know.
like, hey.
And I wanted to put this out there for everybody who's listening, because to me, if you really want to know where the massive wealth is, you need to talk to them. Like everybody else is kind of like at this low, I hate to say it, there was kind of like a low survival frequency.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in survival mode. I need to save money like that penny or whatever. And they're in a constant state of crisis. They can be about their wealth and where their
Like
wealth is
month to month.
going.
Can I pay the bills month to month? That kind
Yes,
of living.
exactly. And what I find extraordinary about Jill and Basil is that Jill and Basil are both about your highest good. Like, can you imagine sitting down and having a conversation with both of them? Like, you need to schedule a call with Jill, period.
Oh, I'd love that.
Because, she and Basil are about your highest good, not from like the ground blue survival mode, but from this state of being. I mean, that to me is just like, well, that's where heaven truly
Well,
is.
and that's where choice is, right?
Yes.
Like if you think of either or, like that's survival mode, right?
Yes.
I can pay this bill or this bill, or I can work for this job and just get by. Like there's the mentality of this or that, right or wrong, up or down. Only having two answers is actually a flag you're in survival. It's a flag that you're managing
Mm.
fear. And when you have infinite potential or infinite answers, infinite ideas, speaking to your higher self. So in finance, there's so much polarity there, and
Mm.
it can be power over another person. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be. It
No.
doesn't have to be. I have a dream that I see happening of going to Africa and bringing my colloidal silver and training girls how to make this colloidal silver, bringing it to their communities for health and also wealth that they can have an entrepreneurial business. Now that's done with money,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's
Yes.
not evil. That's
No.
fabulous. Like, are you kidding me?
No,
Right?
this is good. Yeah.
Totally. And to build up to that, right? There's some strategies to put into place.
Yeah.
And these strategies we're not all taught. We're mostly not taught.
We're
And
not.
so what I'm doing with Basil and other mentors, because it's this fabulous team of experts in finance, with investments, with insurance, with strategies, with tax savings. Like it's like everybody should know this because
Yeah.
these are the practical steps that we have available to help build our wealth
Yeah.
so that we can go and do a fabulous thing like go to Africa and
Yeah.
help communities and bring wealth
Yeah.
and health and education and like there's
Beautiful.
so much that we can do with money that's fun.
Oh
We can
my
hustle
God,
play and have a
yes.
fabulous holiday, and have the cool car and have the great house. And
Absolutely.
yeah, like your possibilities expand exponentially when you have finance to back it.
Yes, 100%. So you know what? I want you to tell everybody how they need to reach you, which is the best way to be able to reach you with this, this financial plan for your highest good, for the
Mm,
highest potential. And the infinite is yours.
yeah.
The infinite is yours. And I think what's really important is that you surround yourself with people that choose to look through a lens of the infinite potential, not through limitation, not through
Totally.
lack, not through survival, but the infinite. And when you open up to that and you have people that actually get it, and the
Like
part
you,
I love is
like you.
you get it, like you embody it. And because actually you embody it, it's like an endorsement for anybody else that actually truly believes that or knows that's potential. It's like two massive, you know, powerhouses coming together
Yeah,
for you.
totally. Totally. Yeah. And it's literally the world's your oyster, right? You have realms that open up that you didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your brain is just like, "What? There's so many ideas, there's so many creations, and you get it's like this playground to play in."
So how do
So
people reach you, honey? Which is the
yes.
best way?
So myname.ca. So that's my website. Jill
Ooh.
Fischer, Fischer.ca is my website. And
Okay.
on there, there's a button, book me. And you can book a free 30-minute consultation,
Yeah.
and then we can pick it up from there. That
Yeah.
would be the best.
Well, I'm on everything that I have in my heart, body, mind, and soul. They need to talk to you. And this is the part that I love about, and I said this already, is that your dichotomy between the essence of your being, the essence of who you are, and this opportunity of melding the pot, melding these two things at the same time. And to me, because you embody the higher states of being, anybody that wants to actually embrace this just needs to talk to Jill and Basil. That's it. They just need to talk to you. If you want to
Thank
come from
you.
a space of like lack, blah, 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 you go right ahead. But if you want to rise up and be around that, I mean, people use this word mindset. I'm actually not a fan of the word mindset, but people use it all that mindset. You need to talk to them, period.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
journey. It's a journey that we all there's some pragmatics to it. And what I see that is really unique in what I bring to the table is it's like a merge of left brain analytical tools and strategies with right brain access to the the universe and
Mhm.
aligning the fluidity of being in the spiritual realm. It's like spiritual finance, right? That's
Oh.
actually not a bad term. I might write a book called that,
Oh, you
Spiritual
need to
Finance.
talk spiritual finance. Okay, you need to write that book, honey.
Woo! Is it out there? Maybe it's already out there. It
I have no idea, but
sounds
it's
like
gonna
it's
be
already a
like for
done
Dr.
deal.
Jill Fisher. I mean, God, woman.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like how beautiful is that kind of power
Yeah,
where you can empower others?
yeah,
That's what this training does. It empowers you so that you can make informed decisions and trust your heart.
yeah. Heaven on earth, honey.
Yeah.
Heaven on earth. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Well, beautiful. Is there anything that you would like to add before we conclude our call? Any words of wisdom that you feel would inspire and ignite
Wow,
human
I feel
wisdom?
pressured now to come up with something really, really profound.
No,
Let's see
it
what
doesn't have
happens.
to be.
Yeah, yeah. No, I say that tongue in cheek of let's see
Mhm.
what happens, right? Like
Hang on,
of
honey. Oh my God, my battery.
oh